Part 1. Your body is programmed to burn fat every night, but you may be sabotaging it. If you are trying to burn fat all day, but accidentally turning off the fat-burning switch every night, then you are fighting at the wrong time. I am saying this very directly. After years of working with metabolism and visceral fat, I realized something important. Most people pour all their energy into the daytime what to eat, how long to train, how many calories to burn while ignoring the most biologically favorable phase their body has. That phase is the night. When you enter deep sleep, your body is no longer focused on digestion. It is not answering emails. It is not handling social stress. It shifts into repair and restructuring mode. Insulin decreases when you stop eating. Growth hormone rises significantly during deep sleep. Cortisol, if your circadian rhythm is intact, declines in the evening. These three factors create a biological environment that favors the mobilization of stored energy, including visceral fat. But there is a problem. We are living in a way that completely disrupts this biological night. Late night eating, blue light exposure until midnight, sleeping 5 hours, high intensity training close to bedtime, stress that never truly shuts off. And then we ask, why is my belly fat not decreasing? I want you to pause for a few seconds and ask yourself, are you truly entering deep sleep each night, or are you lying in bed while your nervous system is still running? Visceral fat is not only a cosmetic issue, it is hormone-sensitive tissue. It responds to cortisol. It responds to insulin. It responds to circadian rhythm. Scientific research shows that growth hormone peaks during slow-wave deep sleep. That is when the body promotes fat breakdown. But if your sleep is shallow, delayed, or insufficient, that hormonal peak is reduced. You do not need a miracle method. You need to restore the biological night advantage your body was designed to have. This is what I want you to understand from the beginning. You are not lacking discipline. You may simply be overlooking the most critical phase of fat metabolism. In the next section, I will explain exactly what happens inside your body when you sleep and why even one small adjustment in how you design your evening can significantly influence visceral fat over time. Do not think about training more. Think about sleeping correctly. Part 2. What actually happens when you sleep? If the previous section helped you realize that night is not just rest, now I want you to understand the mechanism clearly. No vagueness. No slogans. When you enter deep sleep, the slow wave stage, a series of biological changes occur that you simply do not get during the day. First is growth hormone. Growth hormone is not only for children. In adults, it plays a major role in tissue repair and energy mobilization. Its peak secretion occurs during the first deep sleep cycle of the night. One of its biological effects is stimulating lipolysis, the breakdown of fat, which releases fatty acids from fat tissue so the body can use them as fuel. Simply put, when you sleep deeply and properly, your body shifts toward using stored energy more efficiently. Second is insulin. At night, if you are not eating, insulin levels decline. When insulin is low, the body more easily shifts into fat oxidation. On the other hand, if you eat late or consume a high carbohydrate meal close to bedtime, insulin remains elevated when you lie down. And when insulin is high, the body prioritizes storage over mobilization. Third is cortisol. Cortisol should be high in the morning and low in the evening. When cortisol declines at the right time, the nervous system transitions into recovery mode. But if you carry stress into sleep racing thoughts, anxiety, stimulation from screens, cortisol may not drop as it should. When that happens, the metabolic advantage of the night is weakened. Now put these three factors together. Deep sleep leads to increased growth hormone, which leads to increased fat breakdown. Not eating leads to low insulin, which allows the body to use fat as fuel more easily. A normal cortisol rhythm creates a recovery environment instead of a defensive one. That is the biological window your body is designed to use. But here is what many people overlook if you are sleep deprived, especially sleeping fewer than 6 hours for several consecutive days. Research shows that insulin sensitivity decreases and evening cortisol increases. Some data also suggest that chronic sleep restriction may shift fat distribution toward increased central fat over time. So when you hear the phrase burn fat overnight, understand it correctly. It is not a miracle from a single night of sleep. It is a biological advantage repeated every night, as long as you do not sabotage it. The real question is not, how do I burn fat while sleeping? The better question is, am I creating the conditions for my body to do what it was programmed to do? In the next section, I will point out the common habits that quietly disable this nighttime advantage, even if you believe you are living a relatively healthy life. Part 3. What is quietly destroying your nighttime advantage? Now, I am going to say something many people do not like to hear. You may eat relatively well. You may train consistently. But if your evenings are misaligned, your entire biological night advantage almost disappears. First mistake, eating too close to bedtime. When you eat late, especially meals high in refined carbohydrates, insulin remains elevated when you lie down. And when insulin is high, the body does not prioritize fat mobilization. It is in processing and storage mode. You may sleep 8 hours, but the hormonal environment during the first hours of sleep is no longer optimal for fat breakdown. Second mistake, blue light and prolonged neural stimulation. Light from phones, tablets, and televisions in the evening delays melatonin release. But more importantly, it keeps your brain in a state of artificial alertness. The sympathetic nervous system remains active. Cortisol does not decline on schedule. And when cortisol fails to drop, the body does not fully transition into recovery mode. You may be in bed, but your physiology has not truly entered night. Third mistake, repeated sleep restriction. Sleeping 5 hours per night may not seem dramatic, but when this pattern continues for weeks, data show reduced insulin sensitivity, increased hunger signals, and a higher tendency towards central fat accumulation. This is not about one night. It is biological accumulation. Fourth mistake, high-intensity training, too close to bedtime. Intense exercise late in the evening can keep adrenaline and cortisol elevated for several hours. For some individuals, this may not cause problems, but for many people already living with elevated baseline stress, it prevents the nervous system from downshifting before sleep. What is striking is this: you can do almost everything right during the day. But if you disrupt the final few hours before sleep, you weaken the hormonal advantage of the entire night. I want you to ask yourself one direct question. Is your evening truly a transition into recovery? Or is it simply an extension of daytime stimulation in another form? This is not judgment. It is biological observation. If you want your body to benefit from growth hormone release, low insulin, and properly timed cortisol, you must protect the hours before sleep as a deliberate transition ritual, not as a period of unwinding through more screen stimulation. In the final section, I will explain how to redesign your entire biological night, not in an extreme or idealized way, but in a practical and sustainable one, so your body no longer has a reason to store fat as a defensive strategy. Part 4. redesigning your biological night. Now we move into the most important part, not understanding more, but doing differently. I am not asking you to change your entire life. I am asking you to protect the final 3 to 4 hours before sleep, as if they were a metabolic strategy. Step 1. Create a clear endpoint for eating. Allow your body enough time to lower insulin before you go to bed. When you stop taking in energy, insulin declines, and your body has the opportunity to shift toward using stored energy. No extremes are required. Consistency is. Step 2. Design a downshift zone for your nervous system. Less intense light. Less informational stimulation. Not because your phone is evil, but because your brain needs a signal that the day is ending. When the sympathetic nervous system settles down, cortisol can decline at the correct time. Step 3. Keep a fixed sleep schedule. Your body runs on circadian rhythm. When you go to bed and wake up at the same time each day, your internal clock stabilizes. Growth hormone, cortisol, and melatonin become more predictable. Biology prefers predictability. Step 4. Anchor the morning with light. Natural light within 30 minutes of waking helps stabilize the cortisol rhythm. When the morning is aligned, the evening follows. Many people try to repair sleep at night, but the root often begins in the morning. This is not a trick. This is architecture. When you repeat these behaviors long enough, the stress axis is no longer excessively activated. Insulin works more efficiently. Deep sleep improves, and each night becomes a biological opportunity to mobilize fat rather than store it. I want you to remember something simple. Your body is not fighting you. It is adapting. If the environment signals instability, it stores. If the environment signals safety and rhythm, it releases. Do not ask, "How do I burn fat faster?" Ask, "Am I respecting my biological night?" You do not need to force your body. You need to cooperate with it. And when you begin to see sleep as a metabolic tool rather than just rest, everything shifts. Not in a single night, but night after night. If this approach feels different from what you usually hear, follow the channel. We are not chasing shortcuts. We are building real biological foundations.